to talk to you about the abuse crisis in the church at the moment here in Ireland, but also in the States, Australia, Austria, and many other countries. And no doubt the abuse crisis in the church is also in other countries, but we just haven't heard of them, or they haven't come to the fore at the moment. But anyway, let's concentrate on our own situation. I was at the papal visit last week. So I was at various different things that the Holy Father was at, and they're excellent. And then for the things I wasn't at, I looked at it on TV, and then in between the various different things, there was commentators, there were abuse survivors, and there were other people as well talking about various different things in the church. And one of the things that kept coming up was that of abuse, people being abused, and the church not playing its role in that. Now, I think there are four aspects to the abuse that is in the church with quite a while at this stage. One is the clerical sexual abuse. Second, industrial schools. The third is the Magdalene laundries, and the fourth is the mother and baby homes, or mother and child homes, which is a very recent thing. I joined seminary 19 years ago, and at the time abuse was, as in clerical sexual abuse, and the industrial schools as well, was very much in the fore at the time, before I joined and all during my 5 or 6 years in seminary as well. It was a very difficult time, as we all know, because we lived through it. Difficult time for the church, and also obviously most difficult time for the survivors of abuse. And unfortunately, 25 years later, the same survivors of abuse feel they haven't been completely listened to by the church. And now that includes the Vatican. Mary Collins says that there needs to be a Vatican tribunal set up, and the Pope himself has said he would set it up, but I don't know what kind of problems he's running into, but he's saying it's more complicated than it seemed, and what are the issues behind that? I don't know. Anyway, I think if it's possible to be set up, Mary Collins sees that it's very important, so that bishops around the world will be held accountable for their actions or lack of actions, and I wholeheartedly support that. So there needs to be a tribunal set up, and then they receive punishment as a result of their consequences of their actions, as opposed to the way it is at the moment. Is they're in canon law, there's nothing to stop them from not doing the right thing. In other words, if there's somebody abusing, they could just move them on to the next parish. That's obviously not the right thing to do, and we in Ireland, we've learned from that, as well as other countries. But some other countries still, in other parts of the world, this tsunami of abuse will probably be happening to them at some stage. So what Mary Collins says is that, look, if it's written into canon law and there's a tribunal, then the bishops in all those countries, once abuse becomes apparent, they can't start saying, oh, I didn't know about it, I didn't this, I didn't that, whatever. In other words, trying to be awkward. They have to be upfront completely from day one and do the right thing. So I think that should be done. Then Colin O'Gorman was also talking about the Vatican's role. He's on a different angle, saying that he claims that the Vatican has known about abuse going back, I don't know how long. I don't think he's put a specific time on it, but certainly with my understanding of what he's saying is that it's going back decades. So what did the Vatican know, and what did they do about it? So I think his questions need to be answered as well, to be honest, because they are two prominent survivors in Ireland, but there are others as well. And after 25 years of abuse in Ireland and trying to live with it, we are still in the eye of the storm. Absolutely, this is just not on. It's time to push a line in the sand, to get over, and to do what we can for the survivors and victims of abuse, and to move on from this. But it means we need to really meet their demands. Now, I heard another survivor of abuse, I don't remember his name, being interviewed, particularly in relation to the two mother and baby homes, and there are others in the country as well, as we know. He's saying that the religious orders need to apologise and to make redress, as well as the state as well, because both were involved, as both the state and religious orders and dioceses were involved in most forms of abuse in Ireland, be it the clerical sexual abuse, the industrial schools, the Magdalen laundries, and the mother and baby homes. When it comes to Magdalen laundries, the state has begun to make redress. Unfortunately, the religious orders haven't signed up to it, and I think they should, absolutely. Now, I know that very good work has been done by religious orders and by dioceses all throughout the 20th century and right up to the present time. Very, very good work. The state in the earlier part of the 20th century and right up to the middle part of the 20th century wasn't able to manage and cope with the way Ireland was. So religious orders provided education and looked after the poorest and the most vulnerable. Now, unfortunately, we all know the bad news, that there has been a number of rotten apples, and they were rotten to the core, and the damage they have caused to a lot of people. I've met some of them, and it's unconscionable the damage that has been done. I've met people in their 70s, older maybe, and all these years, for 50, 60 years, they've been living with this trauma. It comes out in different ways in their lives. They're not exactly thinking about it all day, every day, but in different areas of their lives, it comes out. And it causes them absolute grief, and then their families as well. It's not on. Something needs to be done for them, and everything needs to be done. If dioceses or religious orders in particular have information in connection with any form of abuse, and it's not just sexual abuse, there's 4 different types of abuse we know, particularly when it comes to Magdalen laundries and mother and baby homes, open their files. Let's get to understand the times that were there and what was done and what was done wrong, and make redress. Again, I'm not taking away from all the very good work that was done, and many religious people, brothers, sisters, and priests, as well as lay people, have dedicated their lives to the service of the most vulnerable. Now, unfortunately, as we all know, there has been a small proportion, or at least a proportion, I don't know how small or large, but I think it's small, proportion of very, very bad decisions and people, very bad and evil, that has been carried out. And that evil that has been carried out, and crimes as well, absolute crimes and neglect that has been carried out, even though it might only be a small number of people, the consequences has been dramatic, unbelievable. Like, if you got one abuser, that person can abuse dozens, dozens upon dozens of people. It only takes one. And but as we know, the vast majority are very good. Now, and I think that needs to be said, because I don't want to say that I'm bashing religious orders and I think the church is all wrong and everything. So I'm not neglecting all the good that has been done, but I do think religious orders in particular need to step up to the plate, apologise, open their books, and make redress. Now, it is very possible that if they were to do all that I've just mentioned, which they should do, that there would be millions they'd have to pay out. And so be it. It might even make some of the religious orders bankrupt. But if that is the case, that is the case. Their good work has been done, and their good works will go before them, and history will judge them fairly for all the good work they've done in Ireland. However, they also need to make reparation for the bad work that has been done and the evil that has been done. Make reparation, pay for the damages, and they will be enormous, very likely to be enormous damages, but pay up, and And as I say, if you go bankrupt, that's the way it is. And if there are still members of the orders, well, and if they go bankrupt, well, start a new order or rise from the ashes, just like companies go bankrupt and start again. Let the religious orders start again in a different way. At the World Meeting of Families, one of the conferences I took part in, or panel discussion, was on human trafficking. And one of the religious orders there has set up in the last 8 or 7, 8, 9 years about set up to do with human trafficking, and we heard that they're doing fantastic work, fantastic work. So if religious orders want to continue on with their mission, start again, rise from the ashes, go maybe a new direction. Now, I'm saying this for 2 reasons. One is, for 25 years, we've been dealing with this abuse issue in the Catholic Church in Ireland, but also elsewhere. And 25 years later, up to now, we are still in the eye of the storm. And I would hate to think that in 10 and 20, 25 years' time, we're still in the eye of the storm, just because there are issues which are not being dealt with. There are abuse survivors that are continuously making demands. They're not being heard. They're being sidelined. They're being put to one side. They're so on and so on. It's not on. Let's get this sorted out. We should do it for the primary reason we should do it. The only reason we should do it is because it's the right thing to do. I've often preached about the right thing to do, truth and justice. The right thing to do is we should do it for that reason. But also, there is the second reason, is that I signed up to be a priest, and many other priests likewise, and lay people, to evangelize. We see the values of the gospel, the good news. It really is good news. We believe it is. It has meant a lot for us in our lives, and we want to try and promulgate this message to bring to other people to see the value of this message, because it gives us meaning, and it's absolutely beautiful in the relationship with Jesus Christ. However, because of the abuse over the last 25 years, and it's, as I say, we're still in the eye of the storm, that the credibility of the church and the message of the good news has been stymied completely, so that what I stand for and what other Christians and Catholics stand for doesn't mean much in a lot of people's eyes, because we haven't dealt with the abuse crisis. Now, there are other things going on as well, and there are other reasons why people don't see value in Catholicism, but that is one of the main reasons. Now, my friends, what can we do about this? I would say there's, and I kind of follow Bishop Barron on this, is that we can pray. That might sound a bit glib, I know it does, but pray. We believe in prayer. We are Christian. We believe good comes out of bad. So let's pray for this and petition our God for this. Let's do works of penance, fasting, or other works of penance as well, to make reparation and to forward this another bit. Then also to make petition our religious orders, who and others, maybe including the Vatican, to do the right thing, to draw a line in the sand, because these clouds over us, these storms are still going on. It's just not on. Now, I'll conclude with this, that Bishop Barron, I've uploaded a number of videos by him. One is Why Remain a Catholic. Very, very good video. Then another one I've uploaded is on a Q&A session on the sexual abuse crisis in the US Church. And I think it's good for us to understand that a bit more as well, because it's very relevant to us. So, my friends, don't lose heart, and please God, a line will be drawn in the sand, and let's get through this together, to do the right thing for abuse victims, and the right thing for the message of Jesus Christ, which we all love very, very, very much, and which we want to bring on to the next generation. But we're we have a credibility issue and we've been stymied in this. So keep going forward, and good on you for being a member of the church. And God bless you. Take care.